Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Thank you all so much for being so patient. Um, oh man, sometimes when that happens, when there's an opportunity for shade, you don't want to miss it. You know what I mean? Um, but I digress. And I don't even know what that means. Okay, where am I here? Let me say hello to. Let me see. Jan Martin was here first. Oh boy, that was some time ago. You were here first, but thank you so much, Connie Balmer. So sorry to keep you up again, Connie Balmer. I know it's late there, and Elaine Parker, and quite a few other people I know it's late. So let's try not to go way over time today. Way over time means 3 hours. Let me see. Oh, you signed up. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Josephine Baker. So I'm going to dispense with all of the hellos and just get straight into it since I'm running so late today. Hello, Susie Q, Anastasia, Mo Shannon, Veronica Quick. These are the most recent people. Maureen Reed, Karen, Michelle B, Levy, I'm sorry, Levy, um, Verta Sanchez, Big Mama's in the house. Um, Weirdest thing, I was looking at ancestry.com yesterday, and I think maybe I got the wrong census. I'm gonna have to ask some family about that because looks like they had my grandmother listed as a white woman, and I have it on good authority. While she may have had some mixed race ancestry, she certainly was not a white woman. She didn't look white to me, but that was interesting. I had never seen that before. And if you guys are not registered with Ancestry.com, let me just tell you this. If you're hesitating because you suppose the government is going to find out who you are and you can never get in trouble, if anybody in your family has taken that DNA test, they got you. They got you. They're like the neighbors on Brewster Place. Remember the neighbor on Brewster Place? I seed you. I seed you. You forgot to close your blinds last night. They got you. So don't even worry about trying to evade the authorities because they know everything there is to know about you, especially depending on what you buy, where you shop, what you read, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? There are what? How many billions of people in this world? Trust me, nobody's interested in me. Uh, if they want to know what my bathroom habits are, let me just say this. I have been very unreliable lately. So, okay. Uh, Let me get into it then. Hey, Mama Jane. All right. So it is February. It's Black History Month. And we are slowly getting to the very end. What is it, 28 days this month? It's not a leap year, is that correct? So if it's not a leap year, then that means, yeah, it's only 28 days this month. Oh my God, the rent is due. Why didn't you guys remind me about that before I went and purchased that computer, which is arriving tomorrow? I was wrong about it. It's not coming until tomorrow. Um, is it too late to send it back? No, that's okay. It is. It is all good. Okay, so let me. Hey, Lydia Washington, did I just see you? I'm cleaning my lenses. A lot of good that'll do. Okay. Hello, Lorna Williams, Church Nelly. What's going on? All right. But yeah, so I see that there's 28 days. Let's carry on here. Black History Month. If you ask me, this is my opinion. The most American of American history, in terms of the United States being a nation, Not, of course, when the colonizers showed up and committed a genocide against the natives, but as a country, as an established nation, as a sovereign nation, as far as I'm concerned, African American history is the most American of history. It is the very backbone and the fiber of this economy, this economic powerhouse, the marvel of the world, would not have been possible without the blood, sweat, and tears of our African ancestors. And that's just the way it is. And you could say the same of the British Empire, no matter how clever or innovative they may have been, um, without the innovations of Black people. And that's right, innovations. Black people have not just been common laborers or slaves, they have also been inventors and creators. There's so many inventions, credited and unaccredited, that you can attribute to Black people. The most American art form that has ever come out of these 50 states, jazz music, that revolutionized music. It was the first time music was modern, the first time music actually was okay to improvise, on large scale, was because of jazz. So there you go. And don't even get me started with gospel. I may be overlooking gospel. Gospel is quite an American thing, isn't it? So, okay, let's move on. And before we go too deep, let me say thank you to the moderators who have made Royal Sussex a safe space for the Sussex Squad and a great place for anyone who is, at the very least, a Sussex sympathizer or even just a fan of the Sussexes, even if you're not a squatty. This is one of several safe spaces that is available to you. Thank goodness for that. And I can't help but think about the person who I cannot accredit at this time because I don't remember who it was. But early in the days of Royal Sussex, almost 2 years ago, someone told me, they said, just block those trolls. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And of course, when something makes so much sense, you just go along with it. I didn't really care about anything but having a safe space. And having that type of nastiness from those trolls, it actually prevents the channel from growing because it's not a safe space. It's no place where people want to have a sense of community. And that made so much sense right away. I didn't even argue about it. I just did it. And so the YouTube streets are lined with the rotting, decaying names of people who have been blocked. I'm sure it's exceeded 500, maybe more. I didn't really count. But yeah, so, and it was a good call. So whoever that was that suggested that, thank you very much. Have not looked back, and the channel has done nothing but grown ever since. So win-win for everyone involved. And that includes the trolls, because that means that they could go and rest their fingers, because all that pecking away at the keys, all that keyboard commando stuff was just a waste of time. All right, so here we have it. Let me take myself out the way here. Prince Harry and Meghan, now more unpopular than Prince Andrew is in the U.S. Someone had something to say about this, and I'm going to share it with you. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex popularity has sunk 48 points since December. I don't know how that's possible, when the couple's Netflix documentary was released, according to a new poll. Well, this young lady is going to explain why none of that makes any sense. I don't need to tell you guys that, because I would literally be preaching to the choir, but and Lord knows any choir worth the salt has heard the sermon time and time again, although they're usually too polite to say so. But let me see. Let me find this young lady. Be prepared to adjust your sound.
Is out. At this point, it just feels like the British media. Well, it looks like another poll is out. At this point, it just feels like the British media and right wing publications are hoping that if they say it often enough, that will make it true. That if they constantly run stories saying the American public hates Harry and Meghan, that eventually people who either don't watch the royals or don't know what's going on, they can eventually read something and say, oh, yeah, don't most Americans hate them? Oh, yeah, I think I read something somewhere that says that they don't like them. And let's look at some evidence because it's just objectively untrue that they are incredibly hated here in America. Prince Harry's memoir Spare spends his sixth consecutive week as the number one New York Times bestseller, and he broke the Guinness World Record for fastest selling memoir. The book also sold over 1 million copies in just the US alone. Megan's podcast knocked Joe Rogan off the top spot on Spotify, and she won a People's Choice Award for it. Their documentary series on Netflix was the highest viewed documentary ever. The series had 1.69 billion minutes of viewing time in the US alone, just from December 12th to December 18th. And as you can see in this letter that Netflix shared with their shareholders, they attributed their success in Q4 to Harry and Meghan, among other successful shows like Stranger Things and Wednesday. They actually mentioned it multiple times. So, no, they aren't hated in America the way that you want them to be. And I also made a video previously about these type of polls, except I was talking about Camilla. And I talked about how these polls are kind of pointless, mostly because the sample size is so small. I think they polled like 2,000 people in a country with over 300 million. And it's just so clear that they don't understand our culture because we don't poll celebrities' popularity here because online the Kardashians are pretty hated, but they're so incredibly successful that these polls mean nothing. So going back to my original point, they're just hoping that they can say this often enough so that way maybe Americans will think it.
Okay, so there you go. Makes all the sense in the world. The poll samples are very small. They really do not understand American culture. The vastness, I believe I heard Harry mention that one time when they did an interview with Harry and him, um, that the vastness of the US is what impressed him. That there are certain regional influences on language and food and culture, music, and so on and so forth that they just don't get. And then also, as evident by the fact that, again, most people don't know that the Queen had 4 children. They only really know that she has a daughter. Most people probably couldn't remember her name. They know that there's the brother of Charles, who, I'm pretty sure is pretty infamous, but still, how many people really know his name? And then, of course, there's the fourth child, Edward, who is, a bit of a mystery. So Americans aren't really keeping up with that stuff. We have royalty. It's called Hollywood. There's a Hollywood royalty and there's a political royalty. Now they don't hold any official anything, but they mean a lot to us, as evident by the fact that they are given a great deal of consideration, especially when they are on top of their careers. Um, that's the only thing we follow is success. We follow people who have actually done the work, people who, good, bad, or indifferent, has managed to aim higher and reach the highest possible goals because of hard work. And that's what we follow. That is what is revered here. That is what's respected here. I don't know how to tell some of these posters or royalists or whomever. I don't know how to tell them this, but I can only put it the way that I understand it. And Disney World the whole backstory of Disney is the idea of fairy tales and princes and princesses, but that's pretty much where it ends. There are more people who would take a trip to Disney World in Florida than would take a trip to England, and that's just a fact. That is one of the highest aspirations of any child is to go to Disney World, and most adults would probably take that same trip to Disney. It's just the way it is. Florida is a haven for debauchery for some and good, clean family fun for others. But there's a lot of people who would rather go there or to Las Vegas instead of going to England. So their efforts are lost. In practice, it makes a lot of sense for them to want to target the American audience, but the truth is, nobody's really interested and nobody really cares. There's a certain amount of respect that is given to just about anybody that is supposed to be a royal or, it's a curiosity. That's it. It's a curiosity for us. It is not something that is ingrained in our psyche since we're children. It is a curiosity, nothing more, nothing less. Baron, they don't want to understand our culture, and the Poles are their base, those that think like them. MAGA Brexit. I keep saying it, MAGA Brexit. Though that is the core of their following is the MAGAs and the Brexit. If you're a MAGA person or a Brexiteer, then that's the target audience, and they hope that it evolves from there. But seeing a black person in the United States exalt the royal family and try to put down Meghan, it's frustrating. It's very sad, very hurtful. Really, it really hurts to see that. But that's there's money to be made with that type of hate, and I believe there are some people that call themselves these ultra conservatives that happen to be black. Yeah, okay, maybe you are conservative, but when you start carrying the party line for um, that side of the aisle, as they say, then there's something wrong. You know what? Be solid in your conservative convictions, but if you are leaning toward people that deny racism, those same people, they'd be in a whole lot of trouble if they denied the Holocaust. But it seems to be okay to deny racism, which, of course, when it comes to the United States, when it comes to black people, the transatlantic slave trade, that was our Holocaust. When it comes to the Caribbean, that was our Holocaust. When it comes to Central and South America, again, that is also a Holocaust. But it's okay to deny that, but it's not okay to deny what happened with the Germans and the Jews. That Holocaust is something that everybody embraced. The internment camps for the Japanese, they received compensation. They received reparation for their troubles. Well, what about black people? I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we had the Jim Crow era. The Holocaust continued in the U.S., but we're supposed to forgive and forget, and then some people just plain deny it, or even worse, they'll try to blame other black people for it, and then you'll have someone like Donatella Limon who will sit there and say, "Okay, thank you very much." He'll shuffle his papers and say, "Okay, thank you very much. Please, sir, may I have another?" Oh God, God help us. Let me see. They don't want. Oh, I'm sorry. I read. Oh, you know what? I need to. So you know what happens is I can hold my page from scrolling, right? And sometimes I do that and everything has gone past me. North America, US, Canada don't track the popularity of celebrities. It's really ridiculous that they continue to speak out. Harry and Meghan's popularity. They are famous people, period. Popularity in terms of how much do you like a person, and popularity based on how often is that person's name mentioned in conversation. How often does that person appear on television or print? As the young lady said, there's a bunch of people that don't like the Kardashians, but are they popular? Yes, they're very popular. There's the whole idea of people that you love to hate. Um, Popularity and liking someone is two different things. Those are two very different things. Mad World says, I only thought the Queen had two kids, Charles and Andrew. I didn't find out different until I came across Barron's Afro Annie. Really? See what I mean? See what I mean? They assume so much. They assume so much. I have been an Anglophile for years, so I've followed all kind of, masterpiece theater and all of Brideshead Revisited. I watched all that stuff. Downton Abbey. Oh my God, I was so excited when Downton Abbey came on. But being an Anglophile and a royalist is two different things. And I actually had to block someone from social media because they said, well, I know that you're a royalist, but blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now, I will be the first to admit I have been quite the Anglophile for a long time, but that does not make me a royalist. That does not make me a royalist. There was never any voice inside of me to say, oh, I wish we had that system. There's a big difference in curiosity, enjoying the soap opera of it. And it has been a soap opera, and it was very much fun until Meghan came along. And of course, when I was younger, when Diana was a part of that circus, I didn't enjoy that storyline either. But just when I say the soap opera, I'm talking about going all the way back to the War of the Roses, the Tudors and the Lancastrians and stuff like that. That's the soap opera I'm talking about, not the modern day stuff. But for me, the soap opera is Shakespeare. It's all theater to me. It's just a curiosity, but I wouldn't want to live under that system. No, no, no. Tin says polls. What's the use of the polls when they are polls away from reality? If they are unpopular, then why write about them? Incessantly, right? Why write about them incessantly? Thank you so much for that, Tin. Let me see. I see a super chat out the corner of my eye. There we go. Hi, Baron. This is a new low for the British media, comparing a war hero and an activist to a teddy bear hoarding person. They're trying to manifest Andrew's popularity, believe and receive. Yeah, they're stuck with Andrew. They're stuck with Andrew. And the only way to justify the comfortable living that he's having at the expense of the British public is to further try to push these Sussexes down in the polls. Well, the thing is, we have not seen our Duchess publicly since what, November? So it's easy to get away with this narrative. It's something about seeing a person out and about and being very human that tempers any type of negative campaign that you can have against a person. The reality that that person puts on their trousers one leg at a time, like the next person, then that's a very different thing to the comparison of someone having some parody cartoon made about them. Because let's face it, for a lot of people, that will be the lasting impression that they have until something big happens for the Sussexes. But thank God they're not feeling the pressure to respond to all of those things. You have to be very secure in yourself to hunker down and do your work and pay no mind or no attention to the hate that is whirling around you all over the place. And I'm glad that they're able to do that. I'm glad that they have a support system around them where they can actually work in peace and feel very secure. These polls are more or less gaslighting and propaganda. They bear no truth or no reality in what's actually going on in this world. Now, I don't think that they should be completely ignored because, as we've seen with Dr. Shola, having people uh, filled with hate, especially some of the, shall we say, very fragile people in our population that really, should not be around most people, especially anyone who is vulnerable to them, then that's something you also have to consider because there are some people who feel like they have to take things into their own hands, and so hopefully we can get this straightened out once and for all. And I believe that most people listening are committed to that. And within your ability, don't do anything that's going to harm your mental health. But for the most part, everyone who's listening is committed to that, and we will be there. We will fight the fight. We will present the case. But when that fails, it's not like Harry and Meghan don't have a voice of their own. And I'm hoping that during this time, I'm pretty certain that during this time that they are regrouping. They're working on what's coming up for the rest of 2023. And there's a lot coming down the pike, and there's so much that we don't know. So when you support someone, especially someone who's very much public people like the Sussexes, then you have to have faith in what they're doing. That faith is very important. And so I don't suppose that any real squatties are in any way discouraged by these things, but being concerned is just something that comes natural. So we'll weather this storm and we will see the benefits of it very soon, I am sure. So hang in there, you guys. It's rough seas, but we have some very, very smart people navigating, so it will be okay. Thank you so much, Shelly L, for the super chat, and thank you for being here. Let me see. Baron, I too used to be an Anglophile, but finally got over it. Still think England is a geographically beautiful, and I think the regular British people are pretty cool. Same here, Cheryl W. And that should not be missed in any way. Is that I know in my heart, I know from experience that, like I said, people put on their trousers one leg at a time, just like you and I. And for the most part, the silent majority of people that either like the Sussexes, love them, or don't want to see them hurt or maligned in any way. And trust me when I say this, there are so many British people who know that these tabloids have an agenda. They know it. Most people are aware of the grift. It may not seem like it, but most people are certainly aware of the grift. And if you start to doubt that, then they've won. And when I say they, I mean the tabloids. If you start to believe that most people believe the tabloids and don't really get the grift that's going on, then the tabloids have won. If you're sitting there wringing your hands in despair, because you assume that the tabloids speak for everyone in Britain, then they've won. Don't let them win. Do not let them win. It has been my mission, not just with the Sussex squad, but with other areas in life, where I constantly try to talk people off the brink of insanity because of the media, because of the media, and because of course, the social media. Once you're in that echo chamber, you don't know that there's a world out there. And um, if you find yourself given a laundry list of what's wrong with this world, what's wrong with the politics and the politicians, what's wrong with Congress, if you're given that laundry list every time somebody says hello to you, back away. Get away from that computer. Turn off that television. Go outside and touch grass, or get some sunshine on your face. I always hear people say, oh, these are some tough times that we're living in. It's always been like this. For someone in the world, maybe not you, maybe not your mama or your daddy, but it's always been a tough time. There's never been a time in the history of the world when there hasn't been some type of war and conflict. But in spite of that, what is it, 11 billion people in the world? We just keep on growing. As a species, we just keep on growing. So if it's that terrible, why are we surviving? How are we here right now? So don't believe that. God does not want that for you. God does not want you to take on the troubles of the world every day when you wake up. If you're alive, there's hope. If you're breathing, there's hope. It's always been tough. So don't believe that things are getting worse. Things are the way they've always been, but they can always get better. That's what I believe. So don't allow yourself to be pulled into that despair. It's a beautiful life, and it gets better, I promise. But don't let these news media outlets, the View and the morning shows and LBC, some of those people on there, and don't the Australian media, don't let them pull you into that. They want you to do that because it's like an abusive relationship. And that abuse that they're pushing you, don't you know that an abuser creates an air of despair like that? And just like clockwork, you willingly go to them, you go back to them for answers. That's the way abuse works. You go back to your abuser for the answers. The media is the abusers, and you go back to them looking for answers. That's the wrong place to look. That's the wrong place to look. First of all, you got to turn it off and walk away. That's the answer. I stopped watching the local news because I could. And do you know what happened when I stopped watching the local news? Nothing. Nothing. Just because I didn't hear about someone getting shot or someone whatever, it didn't change anything. I walk out the door and guess what I see? Sunshine. When I open up the door, I don't hear cars screeching down the street toward me, and I don't hear any of that stuff. But if you are absorbed into this day after day, then you think every time you walk out the house that there's going to be someone there to come after you. And oh, that is my mission. That is my mission. You guys do what you want to do. If you are comfortable in feeling that type of anxiety every day, there's nothing I can say to you to change your mind. I don't want to change your mind. You do what you know best. But I'm telling you, times have always been one way or the other. Some nations have been in a unparalleled amount of prosperity, like Britain was before World War II, and now they're not. Okay? The Romans, unparalleled prosperity. Well, As an empire, they collapsed. But what happened to the people? They kept on living. You understand what I'm saying? They kept on living. But it's the politicians and the public officials that want you to believe that if one thing changed, if one more brown person crosses that border, we are going to collapse as a society. I'm sure that a lot of brown people felt the same way when they saw one more white person cross that border. I'm sure they felt the same way. I bet they were like, wow, there's a lot of white people here all of a sudden. By the way, where's all our money? Where's all our wealth? So tables have turned, but guess what? You keep on living. So anyway, that is my soapbox moment. New polling conducted after publication of Prince Harry's book shows the majority, 52% of the 18 to 24 are now want to abolish the monarchy, up from 15% in 2015. Well, what do you know? What the heck do you know? Isn't that something? While we are so busy hearing about how the Sussexes are in this decline of popularity, it seems like the shoe is on the other foot. It seems like the pole is in the other country. They're the ones that should be worried. That is a distraction. That is gaslighting. That is propaganda. So nobody pays attention to this. And believe me, if that's what the numbers say, trust me and believe that it's probably higher than what appears on that screen. That's just what they were able to record from a select pool of people. Kay Costello, 18 months, shut the front door. Church Nelly, take the razor out of your shoes. It's been 18 months. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys both so much for being members of Royal Sussex for 18 months. Thank you so much for that. Wow, how is that possible? I don't know, but I guess, yeah. So anyway, thank you. 18 months of Royal Sussex. And we haven't had to put you in the booby hatch yet, right? You haven't you haven't lost your marbles yet, right? You guys are still reasonably okay. You don't hear voices or anything, right? All right. Well, just my voice. My voice and maybe Angela Levin's. Well, my voice of Angela Levin. But yeah, thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. Okay, let me get moving here because I am falling way behind. Hello, Sheila Watson. Silly outcome. Let me see. I like that silly outcome. If Harry and Meghan are unpopular in the US, but people are still buying all their content to the double and triple millions, I'll take some more popularity, please, right? I will take more of that popularity. Isn't it interesting? The more they push back against them, the higher their profiles have become. No, it, it is a very curious situation. Let me see. Baron, there are decent, loving people who are supportive of the magical couple, but their support is being suppressed by the long tentacles of the royals and their control of all. Yeah, and because they have signed up, they have crawled up in the bed with the devil, in other words, the tabloid media. And as long as they have the tabloid media, then they will use that to control the hearts and minds of people. And you guys, listen, the computer, when the World Wide Web was first established as something that consumers could access, do you guys remember they said that it is going to be the great equalizer, that we can bypass traditional media and we could actually talk person to person. We could access knowledge that has never been available at your fingertips. Well, all of that is true, but the problem is there also here, meaning that the tabloid media also has a presence on social media. So again, you guys have to be careful what you consume. For the few of you that actually watch, what is his name, Hugo, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Hugo is a bit deep into certain things, but I do on occasion, not every day, I do listen to him. But I pay a lot of attention to what's being said. I pay a lot of attention to the intent, the optics. It's just something that I've been doing um, as a habit for years. I pay attention to what's being said and what's being conveyed, what the intent purpose is for everything. It's just what I do because my view of the world is never very narrow. I use a very wide scope when I look at things because I always want to know how stuff happen, how things work, why are things that way. And that's the way I view the world. I want a better understanding. And before I listen to an individual, I need the whole story. I need the whole story. I need to have the whole story. And so I know I frustrate some of you guys when I say things about the Queen possibly not being in control of things. I cannot overlook the fact that this was a terminally ill 96-year-old woman who had the bee, the wasp, and what was it, the fly around her, whose son's household and his position of power was so inevitable that people's alliances were shifting to him. And maybe he openly said, "Don't listen to mummy." I can't overlook that. If it's true, it's true. Now, obviously, it's not the whole story, but it's a start as far as I'm concerned. I'm still trying to understand how things happened with that because it's very crucial. And I'm waiting to hear what Harry has to say about it. But I'm not going to let my frustration or my disappointment with the way things have turned out um, cloud my vision about what actually happened. I don't want that to happen. I want to know what the truth is, good or bad. I want to know what it is. I think for the sake of prosperity, it warrants knowing the full story. I'm happy. I'm a happy person for Harry and Meghan who got themselves off that island, and I know they will make the best decision for them and their children. Yeah, and Joyce Boss at this point, that's what I'm praying for is that they make the right decision, not my decision, but what's right for them. That's what I'm praying for is that they're going to make the right decision for their family and nothing else. But if you guys feel otherwise, go with that. I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. Let me see. Okay, so this was the absolute last Chuck side. It's a sneaky snake. Well, thank you for those very sage words, Mo Shannon. I can always count on you. Okay, you guys, let's move on to something else for now. I agree. I agree. I love those kids. I love those kids. Um, it's Novara, right? Not Novella. Novara Media, the very best new channel of news coming out of the UK. Razor sharp, get to the heart of the issue. Polls, their polls, that is, light years more dependable than any crap from YouGov or Newsweek. I hope I got that right. I think you believe you meant Novara. But yeah, I love those kids. Okay, so let's take a look at last night. The 54th annual NAACP Awards. So I know for sure that let me see, Angela Bassett won, although and well, we all know that Serena got the Image Award. And as for, oh gosh, what is her name? Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's the ones I know for sure. I was a bit preoccupied last night, so I apologize. I didn't keep up with everything, but yeah. But anyway, they look great. Great night for the NAACP, and yeah, go girls. Let me see here. And great speech. I did see part of her speech, and she looks amazing, by the way. Motherhood agrees with her. Retirement agrees with her. Although she's not completely retired because she is building a $1 billion empire for herself and for her child. So there's that to consider. And then how proud and happy we are to introduce you to Pitis Ghana Limited, the husband and wife team of Kaputi and Sumaya, who spent 1,000 hours constructing this gown of beads, royal kente cloth for me at the NAACP Awards. Their website is et cetera, et cetera. You can see it on the screen. So if you want to see more of their creations, I will leave that there for a minute so you can write that down so you can go to their website. But anyway, I think the gown is absolutely gorgeous. And of course, the way it's just constructed perfectly for her. So beautiful, beautiful gown. I know, absolutely stunning, right? I mean, they all look great. They all look great. So go Cheryl, go Cheryl. It's your birthday. Go Cheryl. Let me see. Does the body come? Oh wait, who said that? Oh, Lydia says, does the body come with the gown? Sis is serving, right? Right. So it just goes to show, don't listen to Donatello Limon with all his ideas about what a prime age is for a woman. For a woman, the prime age is whatever she makes it. Cookies and Cream says the Queen hasn't always been 95 years of age. Point well taken. She has a past of racial inequity. Nothing went on. Let me see. Nothing went on without the Queen's knowledge. She could have stopped the abuse, but she chose to do nothing at all. Well, yeah, she hasn't always been 95. But like I say, I would like to know more about what happened. We may never get the answers. And of course, it's not going to satisfy anyone. But it was a particular turn from being very supportive to being unavailable. And around that time, lots of her friends died. Her husband, whatever he was to her, died. And then, of course, she became very ill. So all of those things are a factor. And I respect what you say, Cookies and Cream. I just want to know more. That's all I'm saying is I want to know more. But whatever you feel, whatever you believe, go with that. I'm here for it. Okay. And then let's take a look at the FLOTUS, the First Lady. Oh, thank you, Dara, for your comment. I agree. I think the last 5 years, Charles was making decisions. Remember the meeting with her, Harry, Charles, and were yelling at H, and she got up and walked out. Also, PC, is that Prince Charles does what he wants. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I don't want to belabor the point, but I agree. The Queen hasn't always been 95, and that is a point well taken. But that I think she was in a very vulnerable place at that point, and so whatever she said or thought would have been lost amongst anybody. I don't think anybody was listening, to be honest with you. I really don't think anybody was listening. But okay, so I don't want to. I don't want to keep going on with that. As we mark the 20th year of PEPFAR, it's amazing to see the success of the program, like the Hope Initiative. With our strong partnership, Namibia has slowed the spread of HIV and is helping young women and girls reach their full potential. So, this is actually not this photo from yesterday, but it is the same occasion. And I wanted to point out, along with everything else, that she is wearing that pixelated looking dress, which I think is cute. But notice the shoes. Now, there was a several comments from people who claimed that her predecessor was actually classy because of all of the cosplaying that she did, dressed up for, in the very classical African safari outfits and such. She had on the pit helmet. I'm talking about, the mail order bride. So her predecessor was dressed up in kind of a cosplay costume every place she went. Um, I think the first lady is being very practical. There's a lot of walking to do, and especially being amongst people that, let's face it, they don't have everything available that some of us living in the West have, but they have their pride, they have their dignity, and their self-respect, and of course, they are being very respectful to the first lady. And so instead of coming in there wearing stilettos and such, or even wearing, wedgies or anything like that, she just put on some sneakers. I'm here. I'm trying to do some footwork, get around, talk to people. And the best way to be pleasant doing that is if your feet feel good. So good for her that she had enough sense to, wear her sneakers on this tour around this area. And so she was criticized for that. Like, oh, I wish we had the other classy first lady back, meaning, of course, Melania Trump. But Melania Trump lied about finishing college. And well, anyway, I'm not going to go into everything about her, but Dr. Jill Biden is actually there to learn a thing or two, is actually there to, take this knowledge and this experience and take it back home. And this is something that the State Department obviously asked her to do. And she's there. She showed up. She's ready to work. Thank you, Mo Shannon. Jill Biden can read a room. Exactly. This is not like that situation where she came with her notebook and she thought she was going to discuss education. And because somebody asked a question of Kate Middleton, everything was abruptly shut down because they didn't want to expose her as being a bit of a dimwit and unable to speak. So they closed everything down, even though Jill had showed up to work. Well, now that she's, on this trip and other situations, she has a chance to work. So as long as she stays away from the Prince and Princess of Wales, then she'll actually be able to interact and learn some things as opposed to just doing a big photo op. So if nothing else, we all know that Jill Biden shows up and she works. I remember when Michelle Obama said that sometimes when they would take some of these trips together, that Jill Biden would pull out her bag and start grading papers on the Air Force One. I mean, literally grading papers, reading and doing all of her classwork, and and it just goes to show her spirit of commitment to her students, and this is what she's chosen to do with her life. She didn't just get by because she married a rich man. She pursued her education, so good for her. Okay. Baron, so now they want back an empty-headed puppet that is a right-wing mute woman, not our First Lady Biden, who is intelligent and prepared. No, they love their mute women. They love someone that you can just put some rags on them and send them out there, and everybody's impressed. Yes, do you remember that? You know what? I was going to share those photos, but it means she would have been in it. But yeah, she literally dressed up like she was doing a photo shoot as opposed to actually there to work. She had on like this safari couture outfit that she wore to Africa. She literally dressed like a very fashionable colonizer. I kid you not. It was very, very disrespectful. Let's see. Jill Biden is real. She's a working first lady. She is hands-on, comfortable, and authentic. She is fearless. Exactly. And just so you guys know, there is no salary for a first lady. First ladies do not have a salary. And I tried to find the official seal for the First Lady of the United States. There isn't one. The First Lady is not really considered working for the government. So much like when Meghan became a member of the royal family, Meghan was unpaid and wasn't compensated, and neither is Jill Biden. Of course, Megan didn't even get a clothing allowance, even though the rest of the people in the family did, which, if you ask me, is pay. But, Jill Biden does not draw a salary. Yes, she is a woman of substance. Okay, so I have a few more to share with you. Thank you for welcoming me back to Kenya. First Lady Kenya is in a photo with her. I'm excited to build on the friendship we began in the U.S. Africa Leaders Summit and see the way you are giving a voice to those who have too often gone unheard. So, as you can see, they have the flag of Kenya and the American flag on display. Although I will point out the American flag is a lot paler than I'm used to seeing. It's usually a darker blue, but that's okay. As a matter of respect and consideration, they put the American flag out there alongside the Kenyan flag for this gathering, and that was very, very nice. So here's a nice close up of the room. Beautiful room, by the way. It almost seems like it's part of the White House, but it's not. But yeah, beautiful room. All right. And then right here, as the Horn of Africa continues to face drought, the farms that provide food for local communities have never been more important. Companies like Hello Tractor are helping local farmers and giving them the tools and resources they need, I hope. And then right here, with every thriving business, with every scientific breakthrough, with every act of kindness, each of the amazing women I met today in Kenya is making their community and country stronger. So that is yet another photo. And then here you can see young people are not the only future of Namibia. Aren't you guys proud of me that I'm able to say it, Namibia? Uh, I struggled with that the other day, and I'm so proud of myself for saying it. They are the present. Let me see. I hope each of you hold on to your dreams, embrace your role as the keepers of your young democracy, and continue using your voices for change. Heller. Heller. All right. Very, very sweet. And then, of course, right here, let's see, our futures are woven together, and we must all come together to continue to help fight the effects of this historic drought. So, yeah, this is what Michonne Harriman was speaking about. So, thank goodness, this is yet another opportunity to remind the world that there is an awful drought going on in Africa right now. But either way, as long as the message is getting out there, that's all that matters. So thank you, Dr. Jill Biden, and of course, the State Department for making this trip possible. And thank you for representing the United States so well. All right, so with that, let's move on. Oh, thank you guys. I'm doing my best. Thank you, Marshar. All right, Camilla will never be queen for one important reason. Camilla married Charles knowing she would never be queen. So that was November of 2021. Revealed, Camilla will officially be known as queen rather than queen consort after Charles' coronation. Well, that was as of yesterday, right? That was as of yesterday. And I know I droned on about this yesterday, but thanks to the Sussex Squad Detective Agency, I have found even more of these receipts mentioning repeatedly that the Duchess of Cornwall will not become queen. Oh, by the way, I just heard my Cash App. Thank you so much for the Cash App. EWT, thank you very much. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And also earlier today, I received a Cash App from RH. Thank you very much. And oh, yeah, that was, and then also from, let me see, what's the initials here? Starts with an I. I can't see it that well. IAC. Thank you so much, all three of you. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you for the PayPal and the Cash App. And happy Sunday to you all. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. Let me see. All right. So again, Charles rules out marrying Camilla. So that was back in 2000. The Prince of Wales has issued his strongest rebuttal, that is, yet to rumors he is planning to marry Camilla Parker Bowles. So it started off, I'm not going to marry her. She can't ever be the Prince of Wales, right? The Prince of Wales has issued the strongest rebuttal yet to the rumors he is planning to marry Camilla Parker Bowles. A strongly worded letter to the Press Complaints Commission, written on behalf of Prince Charles by his private secretary, Stephen Lamport, makes an official complaint about a newspaper report that alleged he was exploring the possibility of marrying Camilla in secret discussions with Church of Scotland. Now, you guys, we have come a long way from Charles complaining about never marrying his side piece, his co-conspirator and co-adulterer, and look at where we are today. Peter Hunt said the king and the queen, Queen Camilla, once unimaginable, now a reality. Now that tweet was from last year after the queen died. Right after the queen died, we realized what was coming down the pike. Buckingham Palace hopes to quietly drop consort from Queen Camilla's title before King Charles' coronation, if aides believe there is enough public appetite. Royal aides hope to quietly drop consort from Queen Consort Camilla's title. Decision will ultimately be dependent on how openly the public accepts Camilla. The late Queen Elizabeth II formally bestowed the title on Camilla in February. As Camilla's popularity continues to grow, there is hope for her title to change. That was back in October of 2022, as I have highlighted there. And you know what, guys? My heart is with Diana. My thoughts are that of Diana, and my spirit is holding hands with Diana right now, because in order for Camilla to put herself in this position, there's a lot of hurt along the way. That includes Harry, and even though I hate to admit it, William, and of course, the first person who was victim of her scheme, Princess Diana, the people's princess. It was heartbreaking to hear Diana say, "I know I will never be queen." Diana did not want to be queen. She wanted to be the queen in people's hearts and didn't want to actually wear those stolen jewels, which is incredible that, in spite of the fact that she was married or had recently divorced Charles, no, I think that was before the divorce, that she realized that this day was never going to come for her. And she was okay with that, that people thought so much of her was all she cared about, is that people knew who she was and knew what was in her heart, never mind about the official position. So that says a lot about Diana's character. She did not fight to keep that role. She did not fight to keep Charles, because the inevitable outcome was that they were not going to be together, because it was obviously he never really loved her in the first place. And that is also very sad when you think about it. There she is, this wide eyed child of 17, 16, 17, when they began to groom her. And by age 19, she was married to Charles, and thinking that the whole world had changed for her and that she was going to live the fantasy or live the dream of being a royal princess. And the most popular bachelor in the world at that time, Prince Charles, had actually married her. Well, we see how things turned out. So, the abuse of women and girls is the most pervasive and unaddressed human rights violation on earth. Jimmy Carter said that in 2014. And of course, it had always been true and continues to be true today. And Camilla, who has aligned herself as a patron of a charity for abused women, for battered women, is the height of arrogance, in my opinion, that she thinks that that's okay and that we should all give her special consideration. We should pat her on the back. We should offer her carrots and sugar cubes because she has aligned herself with a charity like that, especially when you consider who she is and how she's gotten to the point uh, of being the queen consort. That is the height of arrogance. I mean, she literally. Oh, wait, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, where is it? Oh, well, let me take that away. I think I got too many things open at one time and I am paying a price for it. But there we go. Um, that's how she got in that position, was from the mistreatment of Diana. Diana's mistreatment, abuse, gaslighting. It was a game to them. And I do not doubt for a minute that it was all a big laugh for them. And joining in on the laugh, of course, is the British tabloid media. And this outrageous photo of them placing the two of them together, I feel like this was a test to see if the public was okay with it. And you know what? Nothing. There was no outcry. Um, they have successfully suppressed any support, any open support for Princess Diana anywhere. All of that has been done away with. It is so gut wrenching to know, to realize what they've gotten away with. But they have. They have truly gotten away with it. And Camilla is now, according to the polls, which is probably not accurate, but it's not so much what the polls say, it's what the tabloids say that the polls say. And they want people to accept the inevitable, that Camilla is your queen. Camilla is your queen. Camilla has taken that position from the actual monarch, the late Queen Elizabeth. It's not so much the power, it's the position. It is the name, the queen. She simply wants to be known as Queen Camilla. And so I promise you, from Queen Camilla, the next thing is the queen. It's not going to be Queen Camilla, the queen. Mark it down. It is Sunday, February 26th. The queen. That is what's next, is the queen. Not Queen Camilla, the queen. The queen for England, for the UK, for Britain, for the Commonwealth, and of course, even for America, Canada, everything, the queen. That is the next hurdle, is the queen. And all it took was starting from here and working your way out. I hope, I have been saying for the longest, well, when the coronation comes, you know what? I hope people show up and show out. I don't want anybody to be hurt, but I do hope that there are enough people there, not, for Diana's sake, but for the sake of fairness, fair play, whatever. I hope there are people there that will make their voices heard. People who want independence from the monarchy, people who want an elected head of state. I hope they all show up on Coronation Day with blank pieces of paper, with bull horns, T-shirts, all of that stuff. I hope they make their voices heard on Coronation Day. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I do want their voices heard, because this is so unfair. It is so unfair to Diana's memory. And was it Shelley yesterday that said that they were trying to erase her memory like they did Charlotte, so that there's only little tidbits of information? The whole story won't be shared, won't be spoken about. And let's not forget William. William stood there in front of the cameras and told the people that he wanted to make sure that his mother's speech was never heard again. Not her speech, but her interview. That interview goes on a shelf and that nobody ever talks about it again. That's what William wants. So, oh man, the okie doke. I destroyed Diana. I stole her husband and her life. Now, of course, this is not her words, but it's her story. There's literally nothing I will not do in order to keep it. Nothing I would not do to keep it. So, on a lighter note, the Spice Girls, including Victoria Beckham, set to reunite for King Charles III's coronation in May in huge royal concert. Now, they said that back on January 2023, right? The 29th of January. They said the Spice Girls are coming back together to celebrate the coronation. However, the chance for Camilla to you know, reintroduce her role in the Spice Girls, as you know how they always say the lost Beetle, the long lost Beetle. The long lost Spice Girl, in case you guys didn't know it, is Camilla. You had Scary Spice, Sporty Spice, Ginger Spice, Baby Spice, Posh Spice, and Old Spice. Old Spice didn't make the cut, though. Old Spice couldn't cut it. So her chances of getting back together with the gang, well, guess what? Elton John's, let me see, King Charles coronation concert hits with blow as Elton John, Harry Styles, and the Spice Girls all turned down a slot to perform in star-studded lineup. I hear you, Church Nelly. But yeah, Elton John said no. The Spice Girls said no. Harry Styles, all been invited, but unable to make time in their what is that? In their crazy busy schedules. It comes after Ed Sheeran, Adele, and Robbie Williams also bailed. So no go for the Spice Girls. No chance for Old Spice. None of that is going to happen. So maybe if Charles dresses up in some of Mummy's clothes, maybe in the confusion they would agree, but not so much. Lydia says Ivy made that point about Meghan today. They left her title on Archie's birth certificate, but not her name to erase her in the future, part of their pattern in the royal family. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They don't want Meghan to appear as being ever an equal to Kate, ever being a royal, ever being of an elevated stature in that institution. They don't want her to appear, because like I said, appearance also matters. It's not so much what's said, but how does things appear? And so they do not want her to ever appear as being equal or on par with anyone in that family. And so Harry, likewise, let us not forget that they are dressing him down. That's why they can't afford to have images of him around that family in uniform, because they want to remind people that Harry was never meant or cut out to be, not just that he wasn't meant, but that he's not fit to be a part of that institution. That is the overall message that they're trying to send by erasing names, by preventing appearances. See, if Harry is at the coronation, it is going to be a reminder of a lot of things. And I'm convinced they would just rather he not come at all. So that is, in all likelihood, their goal is to make sure that the Sussexes never appear as equals. I mean, this is very well thought out. This is very well thought out. They know that those visual cues could be problems. And so the best thing to do is to eliminate those visual cues and to replace it with, I don't know, the Wessexes. Yeah. Replace it with that frumpy woman and her non-binary husband. That is the image that they would rather replace the Sussexes with. I mean, look at how many times they keep saying, goodbye, Harry and Meghan. Hello, Wessexes. Goodbye, Harry and Meghan. It's always somebody in the family that is going to replace Harry and Meghan. Always. So I remember I hesitated to mention this because I couldn't confirm it. But once it was in, the tabloids, well, then it must be true. If something makes them look bad and the tabloids are talking about it, then it must be true. Famed Alaska singer Jewel has declined an invitation to perform at the coronation of King Charles III. In a statement, she said, "He's got enough big jewels and his family stowed from India. He doesn't need me." Now, this one I cannot confirm, but I'm just going to put it up there anyway, just in case it's true. I haven't been able to confirm that, but if I can find it, I will share that again tomorrow. But yeah, so far, no official confirmation. Um, but I like it, and I don't know. I mean, because I don't know how she is. A matter of fact, I think I've heard of her before, but I don't know. Maybe she did say that. Maybe she did. But so far, I don't know. Uh, okay. Let me see if I can find that right quick. Uh, but I couldn't find it earlier. Uh, yep, I could not find it. Oh well. If you guys can find it, please let me know. I'd be interested in seeing it officially. Oh, Anna Boyd, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Thriving with the Sussexes is here. There is a link at the top of the chat, you guys. So, as I have mentioned, there are several Sussex friendly platforms available, and there's yet another. So, you guys, make sure you support these Sussex friendly platforms because the more voices out there setting the record straight, when that algorithm is bouncing around and some person who doesn't know the whole story comes across it, you know what? Maybe it makes a big difference. So just keep that in mind. You could also not only subscribe, but you could also like and share. Oh, yeah, Susan Boyle. She can leave the Pasha's Council housing available, and yeah, maybe they'll ask her. Let's see. Carrie Underwood has reportedly turned down a performance at the King Charles III's coronation. Maybe next time he'll think before he cheats, she said. So I kind of don't believe. You see why I have a problem with these? I don't believe that this one is accurate. And I don't believe that that one is accurate. I don't think it's fair to put the words in their mouths. But there are some people in the Sussex squad. There are some people in the Sussex squad that seem to have an axe to grind. But again, this is just a parody. She didn't actually say that, and I don't believe that that was accurate either. But when I do have a actual confirmation of these, I will definitely share them. But for now, just for fun. Oh well. So what do we know so far? We got Harry Styles officially out. Adele never in. Ed Sheeran too smart. Elton John, I'm surprised. And what's his name there? I forgot his name. He ain't doing it. And the Spice Girls, no way, Jose. So all of that, they got better things to do, and they can't be bothered. So out, 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 out. Shania Twain, nope. Who else? Yeah, so I guess Jewel is not doing it, but yeah, I keep seeing that in different places. Yeah, a ginger. Those gingers, they don't f around, right? But maybe Charles can get the Phantom of Westminster Abbey to do it. I mean, who would not pay good money? Well, they're giving away tickets, but who would not go through all of the trouble of going to Windsor Castle for that huge concert where they could actually see the stylings of the Phantom of Westminster Abbey? Now, I'm sure most people would rather have Archie play, but because it's his birthday, he'll be a little preoccupied. But they can have the Phantom of Westminster Abbey play. So that's a good choice. I mean, if you close your eyes, would you know it wasn't Elton John, right? If you close your eyes, would you know the difference between her and Elton John? Arrogance where there should be shame. I would say that is a monumental understatement where Charles III is concerned. But yes, he is full of arrogance and lacks any shame, accountable to none. And I hope and pray that this coronation will be a big fat dud. I pray that it's a big fat dud. Okay, so somebody is cosplaying their mother in law, their late mother in law. So, as you know, yesterday, the houndstooth made an appearance. Now that she is the Princess of Wales, with generations of people, there is this need to invoke the spirit of some of the magic from the past. And of course, right here, you can see that Kate, whose head is listing to one side, like the Andrea Doria just before it sank, Kate's whose head is listing to one side has decided to go with the very oversized houndstooth pattern. As you can see, it was one of Princess Diana's favorites. She wore it on several occasions, and Kate decided that as the Princess of Wales, this outfit that she's actually worn before, you would think now that she's Princess of Wales, I would try to stay away from invoking the spirit of my mother in law, but instead, she is leaning into it. So, Copy Kate strikes again. She is trying to convey the spirit of Princess Diana. And then also, check this out. So, they went to the locker room, and she is working overtime to dispel those rumors that she's not comfortable around Black people. Look at there. She actually sat down next to him. Now, I don't suspect she has her hand on his back, but look at how close she's sitting to him. Now, I'm judging from right here. There seems to be a little room left on that bench. But in order for them to convey this idea that, of course, she loves Black people and William loves Black people, you see how close she's sitting? It is so different from that meeting with LeBron James, King James, when she shrunk away from him in disgust. Now, all of a sudden, she is practically leaning into the Black people. Reach out and touch somebody Black so the world won't think you're like that. Reach out and touch somebody Black so the world won't think you're like that. Take a little time out your busy day to rub, stroke, and caress a Black man along the way. She is literally reaching out and touching someone Black. I remember when LeBron James so-called breached the protocol, and I'm telling you guys, her knees nearly buckled. And Prince William, you can see he's digging it. Prince William don't care. I mean, after all, we all know how Prince William is. Prince William, like, shoot, I don't know what's wrong with you. There's nothing I love better than a black man, especially when I'm sleeping rough with a black man. Yes, that's right. As we all know, William has found the comfort in the arms of a black man on occasion, especially that occasion when he was sleeping rough with a black man on the streets of London to prove that he is going to end homelessness once and for all. It even says, my friend Prince William is no racist. Prince William reminds us that he once slept rough with a black man, and that should prove he's not a racist. Seyi Obakin has known Prince Harry for more than 10 years and once slept rough with him. He speaks about their enduring friendship. So, if anybody has accused Martin Luther Cambridge or Martin Luther Wells, now Martin Luther Wells, of being racist, you guys are barking up the wrong tree. There's absolutely nothing racist about him. He has often found the comfort in the arms of a black man. And now it seems as though Kate has likewise realized how important black people are to the overall image of the royal family. So look forward to more of her touching, stroking, and caressing black people. Okay, so now I don't know what this is about a middle-aged white man, a pompous, arrogant middle-aged white man that needs to ball up his fist and pretend like he's ready to go a couple of rounds with somebody. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if hoghead Pierce Morgan ever really got into a situation where he had to fight his way out of it? Could you imagine that? What is he going to do? Hit him with his chins? Huh? Is he going to hit him in his chins? What is his way out of that? Is he going to talk his way out of it? Now we all know he can move fast because he set a land speed record for a two-legged mammal when he ran out of the studios of Good Morning Britain. So no doubt Pierce Morgan can move fast enough to get away from somebody, but to stand his ground and fight his corner, I doubt it. However, one must remind themselves that not only Pierce Morgan, but here's another middle-aged, if not old, white man who likes to look tough. Even with those high sculpted cheekbones, he wants to make sure that you guys know how tough he is. Don't you mess with him. Eamon Holmes will make mincemeat out of you. He will turn you into cannon fodder. How dare you assume that he's not able to defend himself when anybody who's anybody knows how tough Eamon Holmes is? He's so tough that he once threatened to throw the Sussexes over the balcony. Right? Remember that? With those over pumped, overinflated cheekbones that I always confuse with Sharon Osbourne, that Eamon Holmes, and by the way, you never see the two of them in the same room at the same time. That Eamon Holmes wants everybody to think he's so tough. Throw him over the balcony, says Eamon Holmes, savages Harry after protecting Queen's remark. Huh. Isn't that something? One queen protecting another, right? That's one thing about a queen. They'll always protect another. So anyway, Queen Aemon, with those unbelievably large cheekbones, that of which I liken to a overprocessed, over, well, overpumped Sharon Osbourne, that Eamon Holmes. Mighty funny that this masculine figure he is actually is now in the worst possible shape one could imagine. G Vega says Elton John's was very good friends with Diana. No way he would want to go and entertain the two people who caused her so much pain. That is a good point. That is a good point. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, Reba says, Baron, I could whoop Hoghead with one hand tied behind my back. Karma is all over Eamon Holmes. He should shut up. Right? He should shut up. The man who once threatened to throw Harry over a balcony, it seems like he got so upset he threw himself over the balcony or down a flight of stairs or something. Poor Eamon Holmes. And there he is with Hoghead of all people. Eamon Holmes and Hoghead. Pierce Morgan shook Eamon Holmes' hand, who attended the party with crutches. Oh, I wonder what party that was. But anyway, there he is with crutches. There he is with a walking frame. I think that's what you guys in the UK call it. We call it a what do we call it? A walker. Yeah, we just call it a walker. But there he is with a walking frame. Poor Eamon Holmes has seen better days. I wonder how he is now. Oh, that's how he is. Well, this just in. Eamon Holmes is pushed in a wheelchair by devoted son Declan as he arrives at Wembley to cheer his beloved Manchester United as presenter battles chronic back pain. Oh my goodness! Now that's unfortunate. Yeah, poor Eamon Holmes is using a wheelchair because of his chronic back pain. A pain that he seemed to wish upon other people, namely Prince Harry. Lack of mobility stops me doing really simple things, Eamon Holmes issued health update following chronic back pain battle and spinal surgery. He was diagnosed with a dislocated pelvis last March and underwent spinal surgery in a bid to ease his chronic pain. And Eamon Holmes, 63, took to Twitter on Wednesday to share with his 1 million followers an update following his recent health troubles. The Good Morning Britain host revealed that despite physiotherapy, he continues to find his lack of mobility stops him from doing simple things like threatening the Sussexes and forced him to rely on others, his son Declan, which he describes as soul destroying. His soul is destroyed? Really? The man with the big mouth is feeling like his soul is destroyed? The last time somebody tried to convince us that number one, that they have a million fans, and number two, that anybody really gives a rip what happens to them. Well, actually, it wasn't Pierce Morgan. That was okay. It wasn't Hoghead. Well, who was it? Oh wait, where is she at? Well, anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. It was oh boy, my computer is getting kind of glitchy. I should have done a restart. See, this is what happened when you don't restart your computer. Oh, there she is. There she is. There she is. I'm not doing that great. Bethany Frankel breaks down in tears while discussing health battles with POTS syndrome, whatever that is, which caused her to gain 4 pounds in 3 days. Well, you know what? I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but I don't mind sharing it because it's a cautionary tale for anyone that, you know, you should be mindful of what you say about other people because it can have an adverse effect on you in the most epic way. And well, anyway, that was Eamon Holmes back in 2022, November 2022. And this is Eamon today on your left side using a wheelchair. and his son Declan is not at all pleased that someone snapped a photo and shared it with the Daily Mail. Oh, well, I hope he feels better. I hope he feels better. Um, anyway, as Hoghead would say, blip, 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 that's all, Eamon Holmes. Blip, blip, blip. Oh, that was for someone else. Our ancestors, thank you so much for that. But yeah, blip, 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 that's all, Eamon. Oh, well. So anyway, thanks to social media, not, everything on social media is not a bad feeling or, information to ruin your day. Sometimes you could actually learn some things. Like this lady right here, I didn't know anything about her. Now, there are two statues there that depict the life, or at least memorializes someone who was very important in the fight for freedom. And let's see. I hope I get this right. I hope I get this right. Oh, wait a minute. What did I do with it? Oh, I know where it is. Thank you for your patience. Here we go. A revolution of enslaved plantation laborer in San Domingo, now Haiti, began in August 1771, forced France to legally abolish slavery in its colonies. Less than 3 years later, by 1802, however, Napoleon forces sought to resurrect the sugar-based economy of San Domingo. In other words, after fighting with Britain, France was practically bankrupt, and Napoleon thought, well, if we can get them sugar plantations going again, we can get some money to save our empire. So Napoleon decided to reinstate slavery. Can you believe that? France had abolished slavery. Napoleon wanted to bring it back. So, by enslaving free people who had been living as French citizens for 8 years, Africans and their descendants fiercely resisted French forces successfully in San Domingo, unsuccessfully in Guadeloupe. Um, though little is known of their early life, of her early life, is celebrated as a heroine in Guadeloupe. Oh gosh, I hope I got that right. Um, for her role in the struggle for lasting freedom in 1802, Solitude has joined the Maroon settlement of Lago. Oh gosh, you guys, I'm so bad with these pronunciations. In Lagoyevi, in the mid 1790s, and during the attack by the French general Desfourneaux, she became the leader of a small group of escaped to the hills of Guadeloupe, eluding capture. On May 5th, 1802, French ships arrived at the Pointe-à-Pitre, carrying troops ready to enforce Napoleon's decree to reinstate slavery on the island. Battles erupted as Africans and their descendants fought to preserve their freedom. Solitude, that was her name, now pregnant, mobilized her followers to join the forces of Louis Delgrise against the French military. Her struggle until, they struggled until they were surrounded and outnumbered by French troops at Danglemont, Danglemont Plantation. Delgrise and approximately 500 troops allowed the French soldiers to advance into the territory before igniting stores of gunpowder. The strategic suicide plan resulted in the death of approximately 400 French soldiers. Though most of the Maroons died, Solitude survived and was captured and detained by Bassay Terray prison. Okay, so she was in the Bassay Terray prison. The French military sought Solitude and the other survivors before the military tribunal, which sentenced them to death. Yep, all of them were sentenced to death. Solitude was temporarily pardoned until she gave birth to her child, who became the legal property of her owner. Oh, God. One day after delivering her baby on November 28th, 1802, Solitude was executed. She was 30 years old. After her death, Solitude disappeared from the annals of history until 1960s, though by that time her contemporaries such as Delgrise were recognized. Today, Solitude's name adorns squares, avenues, and libraries and a museum in Guadalupe. Solitude's bravery and courage is remembered in song, poems, and a musical, Solitude Le Maroon. So that is her story. And all of this started because I saw that statue and I was just so fascinated by it that I wanted to share it with you guys. Take a look here. Um, the statue on the left is the first one that I saw. And then the one on the right side, that was the other one that I noticed. And I thought, oh my God, that is brilliant. I never heard of her before, but now I'm definitely a fan and very interested in learning more about her. So I love that name too, Solitude. Apparently, Solitude was the backstory about her is that her father was a French soldier or sailor, a French sailor, and her mother was African. And of course, the R word happened to her mother, and she was born. So there's not much known about either the father or the mother, I believe. But apparently, she had light eyes and light skin, but of course, the hair of the ancestors was always present. And of course, nobody knows exactly what she looks like, but based on the oral history, this is the best description possible. But yeah, she was heavily pregnant while she fought to save not only herself from slavery, but other people. You know, she actually worked in the house. She was domestic. And because of her appearance, they didn't want to put her out in the fields, but she never felt free. And when freedom came, even though there was a possibility that she may have been treated better than other people, or other slaves for that matter, because she was kind of like Belle, kind of like Belle. She lived in between um, slavery and freedom, whereas Belle lived in between the aristocracy and the help. So that was her situation. But she was always on the side of the revolution. And so here's another depiction of her in very large stones. This is to memorialize her. And there's even a postage stamp. And if that's not enough, check this out. When Napoleon tried to reinstate slavery in Guadalupe in 1802, she fought with the resistance army but was captured and imprisoned by French forces and executed the day after she delivered her child. The French government is now considering inducting her into the National Pantheon, which of course is a memorial cathedral or church or anyway, I went there, but it's a big church, I think. But anyway, that is where the national heroes of France is recognized. And of course, at the time, she was a French citizen, even though Napoleon tried to reinstate slavery. So, one thing that I've always been fascinated with the French history is that one, at first they hate something, then they like it, and then they hate it again, and then all of a sudden, that person or thing is a national treasure. I have found that to be pretty much typical when it comes to French history, as I interpret it. Certain things are not appreciated in its own time, or certain people, certain stories are not admired at present day, but in the future, all of a sudden, it was heroic. It was so relevant. It is the ultimate history of France, and they want to build monuments and memorials and such. So that is exactly what has happened with this situation. Is that vilified by the French, and then, of course, executed, and now exalted as a national hero. Go figure. Very, how do they say in France? Typical. So yeah, that is, yeah, I'll hold that there and take a look at some of your comments. Oh, we have a comment from Her Majesty the Queen. We haven't heard from her in some time. Sean, who has been in constant contact with Her Majesty the Queen for quite some time, says, Sean, I'm starting to think you're a clairvoyant. Royal message. Ready? Actually, I was practicing this yesterday. I, Queen Elizabeth II, ruler of the United Kingdom, and all quilt to keep legs warm. Quilts to keep legs warm. Do hereby declare Will likes black men, and so do I. They have never mind. Wait, they have never mind. Queen out. Camilla, count your days. Oh boy. Oh, let me see. Pip pip cheerio. And just a reminder, 1992 is a year that I shan't look back upon with undiluted pleasure. It was a horrible anus. 1992. Okay, well, thank you so much, Your Majesty, from reaching out to us from the great beyond. Um, Wait, I thought about adding something to that, but I probably won't in case Harry's listening. But something to do with the weather, but I'm not going to do that because Harry might be listening. So no sense in bringing up the weather where she is now. But anyway, thank you so much, Your Majesty. Uh-oh. I forgot to move the thing. Okay. Thank you so much, Your Majesty. It's always a pleasure to hear from you wherever you are. There we go. Oh, wait. Wait, how do I do that? Okay, there we go. Camilla, you're count your days. All right. Thank you, Your Majesty. And thank you, Sean. Uh-oh. What is that? Oh, thank you very much. LH, thank you for the Cash App. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. All right. Hold on a second. Oh, boy. Okay. So, any comments about... let me see. And Fu says, oh, great. Let me see. Wait, there we go. Great, Baron, that you are resurrecting our brave African heroes. Shows our African sisters were brave from the days of slavery to present. I would love if there was a movie made about her. Let me see. Thank you for that. Rosalind Gaywood says, Baron, do you think that the word has gone out among the entertainers to not perform for the coronation. I think many have read Harry's book. I hope so. I really do. I hope so. I hope that people, in spite of what the polls say, I pray that people are getting the message about that institution. And see, we're kind of in an echo chamber when it comes to what we hear about the Royals. And even though we hear a lot of pushback, even though we console each other about some of the more painful parts of, the Sussex's experience, there is also people who just uh, for whatever reason, feel the way that they do, and they are not willing to give of themselves for that institution. And there's going to be more of that because let's not forget, not just Harry's book, but there has been a lot of discussion about the book, about the docu series. There has been Archetypes. There has been the occasional, the Cut magazine, the articles from the well, sometimes the Guardian is reliable. There's also other news sources. There's also Twitter. Let us not forget those kids on Twitter that has been setting the record straight. I mean, think about this, the hearts and minds of the young people reading the Daily Mail, the Sun, or are they getting a lot of their information from Twitter? I mean, if you guys have thought, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, good, start a YouTube channel. But you could also do a Twitter with your smartphone. You could literally set the record straight on Twitter just like that. You don't need any equipment. If you got an iPhone, if you got an Android, get on, not, what am I saying, Twitter? Get on TikTok. I meant to say TikTok. Get on TikTok and start putting the truth out there. That's the easiest thing that any of us could do. Get on that TikTok and start putting the word out there. If you don't have a channel, just do a TikTok. Just a few seconds of your time to set the record straight would go a long, long way. That anybody can do. So just think about it, you guys. Get on the TikTok and set the record straight. Do one a week, one a month, but just do it. And we can get that word out there. We can set the record straight. We can help the Sussexes. And by helping the Sussexes, of course, who are we really helping? The tens of thousands of people that have been affected or will be affected by their good work. And it's not just the Sussexes. It's the Obamas. It's anybody, any person of color, whoever has decided to speak up or speak out. It's a lot of people. It's Adele. Look at Adele. Look at what happened to Adele. Adele had the nerves to pick one over the other, and they punished her in the tabloid for weeks. Remember that? They couldn't stop talking about Adele. So it's a lot of people. Whoever it is, it doesn't have to be the Sussexes. It just has to be someone whose values align with your own. Do something. Do something. And I apologize to you guys that are actually, on TikTok, on Twitter, and on Facebook fighting the good fight. Please keep it up. Thank you so much. Try to avoid the Facebook jail. Try not to get yourself kicked off of social media. But do put the truth out there. It doesn't have to be cute or clever. It just has to be true. That's what we need is truth. Veritas. That's Latin for truth. That's what we need is the truth. All right. Thank you for listening, you guys. Let me see. I still got more to cover. I'm going to scroll because I've been stuck here in one position for a bit. Okay. There's now 1.3K. Here, has anyone asked about Harry and Meghan? Those polls are fake and inaccurate. Okay, let me see. Baron, uh, oh, you are Jim, encouraging people to do a podcast. Generous are, but few like you. Oh, thank you so much, Ann Fu. Thank you. Let me see here. Okay. All right. So let's go on. I think we're good. Someone asked, I think it was asked where the statue was located. I don't know. I think it's in Haiti. I think it's in Haiti. Erected in memory of solitude, Pointe Petrie, Guadeloupe. Now, Guadeloupe, is that in Haiti? I think it's in Haiti. I think it's in Haiti. But God, I love those statues. I think they're beautiful. I'll show them again in just a second, but let me answer that question before I go on. Uh, and Solitude, I love that name, Solitude. That is a good name. I love that, Solitude. Sometimes I refer to my home as the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, let me see. City of Guadalupe is located. No, it's not in Haiti. Wait a minute. What am I saying? That's not Haiti, is it? Uh, oh my goodness. Are they still a French territory? Are they still a French territory? Let me take a look at the map. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't think it's Haiti. I think it's an island actually by itself. The second largest, most populous city, Guadeloupe, uh, is an overseas region and department of France located in Lesser Antilles, right? It's in Lesser Antilles. So yeah, it's in the Caribbean, I believe, which is a what is it? Which is a I can't pronounce that. Being the seat of the but yeah, I think it's still part of France actually. Yeah, they have a population of about 250,000. Okay, yeah, I had never heard of it before today, but I believe that is where the statue is located in Guadalupe. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry for not being more helpful. Dorcas Baker says they talked about the royals so bad at work with the lies saying that Meghan was the first black female who married, and when she's not, they talked so bad about those people, I had to leave. Oh wow. Okay. Let me see. Okay, yeah, it's not in Haiti. Thank you. All right, so let's move on then, because right, so guess what happened today back in February 1939. 1939. You're gonna love this. As I am afraid that I have never been a very useful member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, so I know it will make very little difference to you whether I resign or whether I continue to be a member of your organization. However, I am in complete disagreement with the attitude taken in refusing Constitution Hall to a great artist. You have set an example which seems to me unfortunate, and I feel obliged to send in to you this resignation. You had an opportunity to lead in an enlightened way, and it seems to me that your organization has failed. I realize that many people will not agree with me, but feeling as I do, this seems to me the only proper procedure to follow. Very sincerely yours, Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt resigned from the Daughters of the American Revolution February the 26th, 1939. They refused to allow Marian Anderson to sing at Constitution Hall. As a matter of fact, they had a long-standing tradition of refusing not only to allow blacks to perform there, but also they didn't want any confusion about where one was allowed to sit. And so, to avoid all of that confusion, they decided we just won't let them perform here. So, they would not allow Marian Anderson to perform at the Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. So, the Secretary of the Interior, probably at the request of Eleanor Roosevelt, decided that it was a good idea to have Marian Anderson appear before a crowd of an estimated 75,000 people on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And so there is a very famous image of Marian Anderson singing at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And this all started not only because she was refused, but because the very popular and very courageous First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt said, you're being pretty ignorant right now. But instead she said, you're not enlightened enough to do what needs to be done, so I quit. And so that's actually a photocopy of the letter as signed by Eleanor Roosevelt. And this, in a dramatic and celebrated act of conscience, Eleanor Roosevelt resigned from the Daughters of the American Revolution, the DAR, when it barred the world-renowned singer Marian Anderson, an African-American, from performing at its Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. Following this well-publicized controversy, the federal government invited Anderson to sing at the public recital on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on Easter Sunday, April 9th, 1939. Some 75,000 people came to hear the free recital. The incident put both the artist and the issue of racial discrimination in the national spotlight. And right there is one of the programs Howard University and associated sponsors present Marian Anderson at the Lincoln Memorial, Washington, D.C. And you can see the date right there, April 9th, 1939. Looks like it says, is that 5 o'clock? Looks like it says 5 o'clock. And of course, there is a quote from Abraham Lincoln, 7 years ago. Yeah, that speech. So there you go. That was that. And here is a big photo right there. You could see how huge. What? Does it really? Mackenzie, now that is brilliant of you to say that, because I had no idea. But thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, wow. I'm looking. April 9th. How cool is that? How cool is that? Thank you. Okay, so there you have it. And right here, there's a picture of Marian Anderson. People hadn't forgotten that, and especially the Kennedys. So for the inauguration back in 1961, Marian Anderson sang for John F. Kennedy on his inauguration day on Capitol Hill. And here you can see Marian Anderson back in 1939 shaking hands with Harold Ickes. Harold Ickes was the longest serving cabinet member in the history of the government. Harold Ickes was the Secretary of the Interior. And Harold Ickes, who himself, I believe, was Jewish, I think he had a good handle on the struggle. So he understood, especially at that period of time, what was going on in the world, and invited at least he was there to congratulate her after the concert. And there is Marian Anderson on Inauguration Day, 1961. You can see 3 photos of her with President Kennedy. I don't recognize the guy with the bow tie, but those are 3 photos, 2 of them in color, of President Kennedy in the Oval Office. And on the bottom left, you can see Marian Anderson with Leontine Price back in the 1950s. There she is with Leontine Price. And then back in I believe it was 87, you could see Marian Anderson with Leontine Price at the Met Opera. Marian Anderson was the first African American to sing on the stage at the Met Opera. And so fast forward, Marian Anderson was actually a special guest of Leontine Price when Leontine Price sang, guess where? Constitution Hall. As soon as Leontine Price found out she was going to sing at the Constitution Hall, she invited a special guest to sit in her box, which was reserved for her use. And that was where Marian Anderson sat and listened to Leontine Price sing on the very stage from which she was barred from appearing. Now, you guys, over the years, that stage has seen everybody from Whitney Houston to Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy was there for the Delirious album, where, by the 80s, there was Eddie Murphy up there talking about his privacy. I'm pretty sure when they finally desegregated that place, that wasn't exactly what they had in mind, but oh well, there's no accounting for good taste, right? Therese, thank you, Therese, for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. Oh, thank you so much, Lydia. I'm glad to do it. Let's see. And speaking of history, take a look there. You can see at the top, there is the White House interns. And in the very center is President Barack Obama. At the bottom, you can see the lack of representation. As a matter of fact, I only see one person of African descent, and he's in the far bottom left corner. That is the Trump White House interns. Notice the difference? Notice the difference. And here you can see members of the staff from across the Biden-Harris administration with the president and the vice president in celebration of Black History Month. Our administration is proud to recognize the Black staffers who lead and are helping create more fair and inclusive democracy across our nation. So that is a far cry from that team of people. Maybe if there was some representation at Kensington Palace, maybe things like losing half the Commonwealth would not have happened. Perhaps maybe someone would have said, you might want to lay off of her. We know you are obsessed with her in some weird, disturbing way, but none of that happened. None of that happened. They pushed ahead with hate and hostility. And today we are still trying to clean up the mess that was created by that group of people at Kensington Palace. So representation really does matter. So there's a lot of staff at the White House and, of course, with the vice president. But there you can see there is plenty, and I do mean plenty, representation in comparison to what we've had in years past. So thank God for that. And by the way, that is, I believe, the old executive office building. If you've ever been to the White House, there's an office building that's like right there next to it, and you could literally walk like a block and you're there. but you never see it in the photos. But that's the old executive building, I believe. So it looks kind of like a state capitol building, but that is part of the White House grounds. And aside from that, you guys, I'm going to take to a few of your comments. And let me take a peek here and see if I had more to go. No, actually, not much more than that. So, you guys that need to get your sleep on, go ahead and do that. And I'm going to take another message from Her Majesty. Royal message. Wait, let me have a sip of water. Okay. Wait. Okay. I'm ready. I, Queen Elizabeth II, ruler of the United Kingdom, and swollen ankle, do hereby declare that they're in the 30s with a black man. Camilla took both ways before you cross. Look both ways before you cross the street or cross me. Sean, I don't know where you get these from. Oh Lord, I really should read them first, but oh man, with swollen ankles. Woo, with swollen ankles. Anyway, but yeah, so there you have it. That was a message from Her Majesty the Queen, once again reminding us that she is keeping an eye on things. And thank you, Sean, for relaying those messages. A horrible anus. That's what 1992 was. It was a horribus horribus. Thank you, Sean, and thank you for the super chat. Okay, any more comments? By the way, you guys, one more time, go ahead and get some sleep. We are done. I'm just going to look at some comments. It's looking suspicious about these singers not wanting to sing. Yeah, I wonder about that. I really do wonder about that. Rory B says the irony of the Daughters of the American Revolution is that they offered my nephew a scholarship to study in Maine for his associate's degree in auto mechanics in 2016. My brother was shocked. Yeah, that is shocking. I mean, Daughters of the American Revolution, I assume that means that these are the descendants of the likes of Washington and Jefferson and, all of these signatories of the Declaration of Independence, the Hancocks, the this and that. I would assume that that's who they are, kind of like the Mayflower people, but instead the Daughters of the American Revolution, the most patriotic, I would assume, in their opinions anyway. I'm surprised Orange Top had one member there, right? Right? Let me see. I wish the media would spotlight Vice President Harris like they did past vice presidents. Yeah, I mean they really should. They really should. So I think that Harris's image is going to increase soon, but maybe one of the reasons why is because they always have something negative to say. They are super critical of her for the most, ridiculous things. And if that was a man in that position, there's no way that they would be so critical. But because it's a woman, they're trying to Hillary Clinton her. Let me see, Baron. It will be interesting to see how the Commonwealth leaders respond to coronation invitations. Yeah. Let me see. And I just saw in one of the tabloids where they were saying that the Earl Spencer is not invited. He's sure that he's not invited. Let me see. Nicole Tanner says, Baron, today is a painful reminder that the World Trade Center of the World Trade Center bombing that occurred on a Friday on February 26, 1993. 5 people died that sad day. I'm one of the survivors. Peace to their souls. Really? Yeah. When they had they tried to use the vans to blow up the building. I remember that. They had, if you guys don't recall, they had white cargo vans, and they tried to load them with explosives. Well, they did load them with explosives. And was it 1 or 2 that they pulled into the garage, and they thought that they could bring down the buildings by detonating explosives in the basement of the World Trade Center where the parking garage was located? Well, they did manage to crack one of the foundation walls, but the building was still quite sound after that, and it did otherwise little damage to the building. But the smoke is what was the big culprit that day. There was a lot of smoke. I mean, it's a parking garage, there's fuel and other vehicles. So yeah, that was anyway, that's how I remember that event. But thank goodness you survived. And wow, that is something. I could imagine how you felt in 2001. Wow, that happened on February 26th. I totally missed that one. Thank you for sharing that. Let me see. Did you hit the magic number? That's a good question. I wonder. Let me see. What is the magic number? What is the magic number? Oh, Lord. Where is that other one at? Okay. I will take a look. Oh, there it is. There it is. I was going to say I'll take a look later. Let me see what the magic number is. 3 is a magic number. Yes, it is. That's a magic number. There was 3 in the family, and that's a magic number. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, it is 3. Isn't that something? Oh, and by the way, Thriving with the Sussexes was on earlier today. The link is at the top of the chat, as I mentioned earlier. Yet another Sussex-friendly channel. So if you guys are not subscribed, please go and subscribe so we can keep these Sussex-friendly platforms thriving. Thriving with the Sussexes. Eh? Okay. Let me see. Liberta August says, supposedly a true story, 2 sisters applied to become members of the Daughters of the Confederacy. Genealogy showed that they had Black ancestors. One, really? And the other, oh, really? I never heard of that before. Well, that's a shame that they decided that they couldn't live with themselves like that. Let me see. Daughters of the American Revolution also included everyone who had an ancestor fight in the American Revolution. My uncle told my sister that I could join because of our great-grandfather. Very cool, Deborah Robinson. Very cool. Well, which reminds me, I got to figure out, why did the census say my grandmother was white back in 1930? That was interesting. The name is right. The name is right, but I mean, it has all the other ancestors connected, but I tell you guys, when you go on that ancestry.com, you can find, I found like military enlistment cards for several relatives in my family, several of them. Military enlistment cards, photostat copies of it online. It was so weird to see their signatures on those cards on the internet, digitized forever. Isn't that something? It is Black History Month. Don't forget to learn. I'm sharing things on occasion, and I wish that I could do more, but it's just so much. I'm a bit overwhelmed, but I've picked things kind of as they have come along, and I enjoy sharing them. And I'm going to do more the next couple of days, but there's a lot of good history out there. So know your history. I repeat, know your history. There is so much. And African American history is American history. If you're African American, I have to remind you that this is your country too. And as much as people love to try to make it seem like we're just a visitor, you and I both know better. And we're here and we're here to stay. And despite everything that has been thrown at us, we will continue to thrive, not just survive, but thrive. So that is what we have to remember. This is very much intertwined with our own history. Inverness Charles, hello. Baron, hello, everyone. Let's see. I worked very close to the World Trade Center. I remember procrastinating rather for an hour. Thank God I didn't go. 1993. I knew they would be back. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. When I went to see the Sussexes in New York, I had never been to the old World Trade Center, but I did go to the new One World Trade building, and I wanted to walk in the footsteps of the Sussexes, and that was very interesting. Being in that space and walking around the memorial and everything, it was a good day. Very solemn in some respects, but a very good day. Let me see here. Oh, yes, thank you. I saw it some time ago and I saved it. And as I was going through I think I have about probably 75,000 photos and videos on my computer. And I label them the best I can. And so when I was looking for something for today, it just popped up when I was looking for certain photos, and I'm like, wow, I don't remember saving that one, but I did. So yeah, but I love that photo. Very, very cool. So I just added the caption to it in hot pink. I thought was a good idea. That's right, Mo Shannon. Black history is American history. It is. Let me see here. Oh, thank you again. Thank you again. Yeah, a lot of these would be really cool to just print them out and have them in your home, Let me see. Let's see. I'm scrolling back and forth. Ruth Lopez says, if Diana's brother isn't invited, another reason for Harry not to go. He's proud of his Spencer family. Yeah. So I believe they said they were going to limit the amount of people. Now, this is what I know about the coronations of the past. At the transept, that part right there by the altar, most of the old cathedrals are shaped like a cross. So from the sky looking down, they look like a cross. And at the very point where the two points of the cross connect, they built scaffolding. They built stands. Grandstands. They built some stands on either side so they could fit more people. So when they have something like a coronation, even in the past, back in ancient times, they used to build rows of seats where people could sit elevated and look down like they were in a stadium at the coronation. So there's no reason why they couldn't put a temporary thing like that inside of Westminster Abbey and seat more people during the coronation. But I believe because of the so-called slim down monarchy and the economic times that we're in, that they decided that they wouldn't do that. So I'm guessing that is the case. But those chairs are those pews and everything, they're not fixed to the floor. They can move them around. So um, that is a possibility if they choose to do so. But yeah, during the coronations, they would fit a lot of people into Westminster Abbey. But this time around, I don't know if that's the plan, rather. Uh, okay. Baron, there was a fly who was in cahoots with the spider. The fly flew into Diana's tea whilst the spider was doing its job building cobwebs. Soon the cobwebs, the tabloids, will trap the the cow. Okay, the cows. Thank you so much for that. Um, the courtiers, from what I'm to understand, the courtiers are usually bigger snobs than the people they work for. Even in some of the other aristocratic families, the hired staff, they are such snobs, especially from one like aristocratic household to the other. They are very much snobs. Let me see here. Baron Jimi Hendrix paid a wonderful tribute with his guitar at Woodstock to the USA. Great picture. I think I've heard that before. Somewhere. Jimi Hendrix died in London, didn't he? I think he died in London. Let's see here. I have a great court case in America to avoid my marriage, which is biracial. Really? Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay, let me see. Nene says, why are they talking about Harry and Meghan when neither of them are talking about them? They look and sound desperate. They are desperate. They are desperate. It's more than a look, it's more than a sound. They are desperate. Very desperate. I recall that Ruth Lopez, people's eyes are opening up. Oh, okay, there it is. Baron, it's like when the singers all sang Ain't Gonna Play Sun City and refused to perform in South Africa. Yeah, that is interesting to think about. What if it does become like some type of, to the level of like an apartheid situation where people start to, um, what is that they call it when they take their investments away? I mean, the Brexit has already had an impact on the economy. And while I would love to embarrass the Tory government, I do not want to see any hardships for the British people. And so canceling a concert or, refusing to perform is not a great impact to the British people. But if it turns into a situation where people decide to avoid the UK for business or otherwise, that would be a disaster. On the one hand, it would be a huge burden to working class and poor people, but it would be the downfall of the royal family. I'm sure of that. If things ever really got so bad, it's not like in the old days. With the post-war, the lack of prosperity could be explained away by the war effort. But in modern times, because the Tory led government decided to sign a Brexit, um, I shouldn't even call it a deal because it wasn't a deal, was it? But when they decided to have a Brexit to leave the European Union, that was something that was avoidable, and people won't forget about it. So again, do no harm to the consumers, but as for the rest of those people, um, I I hope we're seeing the last days of monarchy. I really do. They can keep their titles and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of them having taxpayer money and the tabloid press to hurt people, I'd like to see that come to an abrupt end. So, okay, you guys, I think we are good. We are approaching 3 hours. Let me see here. What good comes of it? I don't get it. Well, it's like anything else. It's a once in a lifetime event. It is. And there are people who have lived and have died and never seen a coronation. Now, there's not much majesty in His Majesty Charles III because he is such a corrupt individual. Corrupt. He is a very, very corrupt king. He is an old man who he doesn't have the innocence of a 25-year-old girl being summoned from Africa to take the throne. There's no innocence to it. He's at the point now where if they put a speech in his hand, it's because that's what he wants to say, not because that's what the government says. So there's a big difference. There's no innocence. There's no assumption of innocence. Now, over time, we realized that the Queen had plenty of opportunity to right a lot of wrongs committed by the government, and she just chose not to do it. She didn't speak out. She didn't speak up. She didn't apologize. She didn't do any of those things. She stayed in character all the time, and history is going to reflect that. I mean, history has reflected that. As soon as she died, even more people were very critical about the royal family, about the institution, about the role of the British government in the conquests of the globe, colonization, slavery, all of those things were brought up. None of that is going to go away. And let's say in 70 years on the throne, the Queen had ample opportunity to speak out about it and chose not to speak out about it, made the decision to not address it or speak out about it in any way that was meaningful. Acknowledging suffering and pain and apologizing is very different. To say that it should have never happened and apologizing is very different. To say to a nation while on a state visit that our nations are forever intertwined, and I think back fondly on the first time Philip and I showed up, none of that stuff really alleviates any pain. The only people that are really helped when there's a state visit are the politicians, are the governments of the Commonwealth country. They're the only ones that benefit from it. But the people, and of course, the ancestors who live with the knowledge of oppression, that doesn't help them at all. So that institution is probably in its last days. I hope is in its last days. It doesn't deserve to exist. It just doesn't. There was 70 years of opportunities to speak out, and the Queen did not. Now, as much as I have been, thoughtful about what it must have been like for the Queen, I have to say this: 70 years is a long time. And as was it Cookies and Cream said, not doing something in so many words was nothing new, because she's been that person all that time and she had all that opportunity and she just didn't. So that is the ugly truth about it, is that there was opportunities, there was the ability, to say or do something about that history, and it just did not happen. And so I think the Queen was a victim of her popularity, in that she didn't have to really do anything. Once you have been ensconced as a sweet old lady, there's no great expectations put on you. And so the reason why I say a victim of her popularity is because at some point, um, when people wake up from this, this dream of what it's like to have a royal family, when people wake up from the idea of monarchy, they're going to realize in greater numbers how ugly that institution has been and how much misery that it has caused the world. But it's just not enough people that see that right now. You go to Liverpool, they'll tell you. There's a lot of places within Britain where the royal family is unpopular, but again, being a sweet old lady, there was no logical way to address it. But the bitter old corrupt man that's on the throne and his incandescent with rage son, they're not gonna be as lucky. They're not gonna fare as well as the queen did. The queen can hide behind her age and her gender, but there's not going to be any considerations for those other two. The other two are going to take the full brunt of it. They're going to take what the queen did not get. They're going to take that on the nose. They're going to take it on the nose for the institution. I promise you. In the days to come, however long it takes, all of the things that they wouldn't say or do while the queen was on the throne, Charles and William are going to be the ones that have to atone for the sins of both the mothers and the fathers. That much I'm sure of. That is going to happen. So I wait patiently. I wait patiently, and we'll see. And if not in my lifetime, it is still going to happen. There's no purpose for the royal family. There's um, there's no fairness with that institution, and I'd be willing to wager you that, well, not a really wager, but I'm just going to say it is going to be as it's been with the Commonwealth, the treatment of Harry and Meghan, a prince of the blood, and his biracial American wife of African descent, the way that they have been treated by that institution, that will be their downfall. It really will. And of course, uplifting Camilla as the queen and Charles, the head of the church, all of these things come together and it spells out doom for the institution. There's no point in it. And when it comes down to, let's say, a Tory government and the throne, who do you think they're going to choose? When the throne is so unpopular, when the crown is so unpopular, and people are turning against that Tory government, do you think they're going to just quit? Or do you think they're just going to take it out on the royal family? They're going to take it out the king, because the next three are kings. That is who's going to take the punishment. That will be the ones to take the punishment. So the queen got a free pass. She aged into the position as the old lady, the mother of the country, but they're not going to be so kind to these three kings. These three kings. So, all right, you guys, that is just my prediction. Let me see. The queen was a novelty that controlled and manipulated, in my opinion. She was used as a figurehead in order to keep the Commonwealth under their control. Yeah, and the Commonwealth is them really hating to let go of empire. The Commonwealth was like Empire 2.0. It was a remnant of the imperial past that they did not want to relinquish. That's exactly what it was. It made people believe, it made them believe that the empire had never gone away. Poor George, they are lining up a bus to throw him under. That is so true. That is so true. And from what I see, he lacks the temperament for the position. God help him. Um, this very shy, recoiling child. Um, and who knows, he might grow up to be uh, something that we're not seeing right now. But as things stand, and based on the history of that family, and given you know, given what we've seen so far, it doesn't really seem to suit him, and that's unfortunate because it is going to be very painful for him to be put in these positions where he's not comfortable. But there's always a possibility he'll grow out of it. But for now, he's a very shy young man and very sensitive by all appearance. And I wish him the best, but that institution is going to consume him. And the courtiers that, especially in this information age, those courtiers that surround him, could you imagine? Could you imagine how they'll use their positions to elevate their status? Let me see. Okay, Baron, don't forget Prince Archie and Princess Lily. They are parts of the royal family too. Everyone forget to mention them. The king and the king to be, they do not acknowledge Archie and Lily. Well, um, so far they haven't, and there's been no official update on any of the, information from the palace on their websites and such. But um, you know, that institution going away may be the thing that helps them in the future. But they're over here. They're not working members of the royal family, and in the future probably won't be. So yeah, not they are part of the family though. They are, you know, they are prince and princess. That is true. They should just push Charlotte to the front of the line. Carmen, I actually believe they will. I said that some time ago that Charlotte, I believe Charlotte will likely take the throne. Charlotte seems to have the chops for it. So if they need to, especially based on the information such as it is, but see, William is so blind by his well, he's just blind, and I don't think that if somebody suggests maybe I don't think he would listen. I don't think he would listen. I think he's always about tradition, and that he will do the same that has been done to him and done to his father and everybody before them. So I think Charlotte would be the best, but the institution just needs to go away. Let's see, the sins of the fathers will be visited on the children. So sad. Yes, sister, that appears to be the way things are headed. The Commonwealth has been a piggy bank. Agreed. The Commonwealth, you can't even travel within the Commonwealth unless you are going from one white country to the next. They don't even let you travel in the Commonwealth. You could be in the Commonwealth. You can have treasures that were stolen, like the Benin bronzes. You could have treasures in the museums, but you're not allowed to just hop on a plane to go unless they're certain that you are going to go back home. They have to almost get you to sign in blood that you won't try to stay. It's not really a commonwealth, is it? What kind of commonwealth requires a visa for anyone with melanin, a high amount of melanin, to travel within a commonwealth? Or should I say, to the land of the mother tongue? Good night, Joseph Berno. Thank you for being here. You know what? I'm going to say good night to you guys. Depressed, distraught, sad, anxious, all of that. God help that child. Diane Hawkins says none of the others will do anything other than what they've already seen done. Charlotte will be just like Gangsta Gan Liz. Only the Sussexes have the real means of exercising real change. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Diane Hawkins. Yeah, the Sussexes have given that family a template, whether or not they know it. There has been handed to other members of the family a manual for extracting yourself from the declining monarchy. And if you follow these simple rules, you too could live a life of prosperity and out of the shadow of the sovereign. But first of all, you have to leave and become self-sufficient and not depend upon that institution. So maybe in the future, when the press leaves people alone, then you could truly be free. But for now, they are using their briefing with the press to strike out against people. But that's not going to last forever. Thank you, Linda Lala. Thank you for being here. Let me see. Well, all right. The last word of the day is, I guess, know your history. That's the last word of the day. Know your history. And with that, you guys, thank you very much, Princess Diana. We have not forgotten you. The People's Princess, the Queen of Hearts, we have not forgotten you. And I am going to make sure I got to get on TikTok. I want to do some TikToks. I want to really get into some good trouble on TikTok. Oh, I need TikTok desperately because I really want to do some TikToks about Diana just to remind people, like all the way up until the coronation, I really want to go rogue on the TikTok for Diana's sake. I just feel like Diana is like speaking out from the great beyond, not to be, not so much not to be forgotten, but, well, maybe that's it. But I feel like in my soul that there's something that needs to be done. So I'm gonna try to get on the TikTok. And also Doria, who has been the very model of dignity throughout all of this. Thank you. All right, so yeah. Thank you, Manella. Nothing right about that. We get poor because of our when trees are green. Thank you. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Sonia Johnson. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mod Squad. Thank you, everyone, for your very generous donations, including the Cash App and the PayPal. And thank you, everyone who is or have been a member of the Royal Sussex. Only $4.99 for the memberships. Still a bargain until I get off of my behind and change it and do those tiers and levels. So by this time next year, it may not be $4.99, huh? Well, there will be other options anyway. But yeah, thank you so much. And I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully with some other pages of Black history to share for Black History Month. And with that, we are going to cue the Ginger Avenger. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. God, I can't believe it is 9 o'clock. Where did the time go? Let me see. Oh, yeah, Ruth Lopez. I can see you're ready for revolution. The best thing that could happen to England would be to lose all the Commonwealth and the other UK countries. England needs to face what they have become. Wow, you said it. And you know what? That ain't too far away. I think they'll probably keep Wales, but Scotland is out of there as soon as they can. And as for Northern Ireland, well, we all know those 5 or 6 counties will be absorbed into Greater Ireland, the Irish Republic. So, yeah. Anyway, good luck, everyone. Best of luck to people in Britain. My prayers are with you because there is a lot of people who are just trying to go about their lives, and unfortunately, because of greed and privilege, may find yourselves not in a very comfortable situation right now. But change is coming. I'm convinced of that, and hopefully, it's a change for the better. Thank you, Judith. Judith Reynolds, thank you very much. All right. All right, we're good. See you guys. Love you and happy Black History Month.